All right, let's try this again. Can you all hear me okay? Check 1, 2. We are now live. We're going to restart this stream, and hopefully it works just fine. We had some audio issues last time. So let me know down in the chat section below if you can hear me okay. So I've got confirmation on my end. Let's give it a try here. Can you all hear me in the chat okay? Awesome. Welcome. So let's go ahead and get started over here again. I actually didn't change anything on my computer. It's literally got to be on YouTube's end. I literally didn't change any settings. I just killed the stream, started over, hit start on my streaming software, and looks like we have sound now. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. If y'all saw me try to debug that in the last video, I had audio coming through. Not really sure what's going on. So let's start this over again. So looks like I got a bunch of people jumping back in the chat here. Awesome. So today, let's just start back over here. I'm going to collect my thoughts and get out of troubleshooting mode back into live streaming mode. So today we're going to talk about the Ethereum supply shock that is here, okay, and what that means for the price of Ether going forward. All right, we've seen one of the biggest upgrades that's ever happened to Ethereum in the past week. We've got another major upgrade coming in a matter of months. All right, so I'm talking about what you need to understand about this. As a blockchain developer, works with technology on a daily basis, and also an ETH holder myself, right? Full disclosure. But I talk about that quite a bit on this channel. And so we're going to look at that, a lot of new updates that have happened in the space since yesterday, answer some of your questions, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step from start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. And of course, last but not least, I think I'm saying this video is designed to be financial advice. There's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. I'll never give you my phone number or ask you to invest with me. So do you have a bunch of people jumping in the chat here? We've got, Culture Highs, Automatic Beats, Anthony, Golan. Sorry, the chat's moving on me here. Gary, Daniel, Roger, 420 Kyle, Anthony, Gina, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about the Ethereum supply shock that is here. So I want to pull up this graph here from Willy Woo, who is an on-chain analyst. Talks quite a bit about Bitcoin, but it's actually recently started doing analytics for Ether as well. All right, and he's actually made a chart of this, which is the Ethereum supply shock and how it's at an all-time high. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, basically, we have the supply of Ether on exchanges, and we can actually quantify what the Ethereum supply shock is, all right? So basically, this is the whole idea that there's just not enough Ether on exchanges for people to purchase, okay? And we can actually graph this out in correlation with the price of Ether, all right? Because at the end of the day, what determines the value of a cryptocurrency in the first place? It's supply and demand economics. As long as a cryptocurrency has sound economics in terms of the supply, then the demand increases and the price goes up, okay? So why would the demand increase? Well, for price appreciation, speculation. But with Ether, as opposed to some of these other cryptocurrencies, there's a lot you can do with it, right? You can stake it, you can use it in DeFi, you can use it to buy NFTs, which is a massive, mania right now. So there's all these reasons why people are piling into Ethereum. All right, and that's what's behind this supply shock that we're seeing right now that's highly correlated with the price of Ether, and the supply shock is an all-time high. Now, what is the conclusion that Willie's drawing from this? Well, basically, he's saying that the Ethereum supply shock is well underway and is truly at all-time highs, and it looks like the market overpriced ETH in May, all right, but it's probably underpricing Ether in July/August, okay? So basically what he's saying here is, what the price levels that we saw in Ether were likely, bubblish, and that's one of the reasons it popped, and that, we saw the price drop about 50%. But right now, if you graph that out relative to the supply shock, that it's undervalued compared to the demand for Ether itself, okay? And so this is pretty crazy because, we have this EIP 1559 network upgrade that just rolled out this past week. It's gone successfully. We're burning lots of Ether. We can look at that in a second here. But we've got another major upgrade coming down the pike for Ethereum that's going to make the supply shock even greater, right? So we're not just going to be burning ETH every block, but we're going to bring a lot of ETH every block because the actual network issuance is going to drop whenever Ethereum goes live to proof of stake, okay? And so, this is going to have a huge impact, all right? And if there's an interview that you should check out. I actually saw this the other day. I brought it up briefly on my channel, but you can check it out. It's an interview with Raoul Pal where he talks about his sort of investing thesis around crypto and digital assets for 2022. Let's see here. I mentioned this the other day, but you definitely want to go check this out, okay? It's an interview on Altcoin Daily channel, okay? So this is an interview with Raoul talking about, his cryptocurrency strategy for 2022. And inside of here, he's asked quite a bit about Ethereum. And I brought this up on my Twitter, but he talks about it basically being like the greatest trade setup, okay? So why does he say that? Well, he's talking about basically all of the things that are coming down the pike for ETH. Like we've got the EIP 1559 network upgrade. We've got layer 2s here. We've got the merge that's happening when Ethereum goes to proof of stake. And he's talking more and more and more about the supply shock that we're talking about here. Basically, we have a technology that's growing twice as fast as the internet was in the days with the same number of users. Okay, Ethereum's at the leader of this pack. We're seeing decentralized applications built on top of it. We have more applications coming now with layer 2s here. We have more and more people piling in to use it. We have Ethereum changing its status to where institutions are actually attracted to it. And this is all a perfect setup for this just being seeing an absolute explosion in price. And we talked about the other day on this channel how he has stuck by his price predictions of seeing a $20,000 Ether. Now it could be give or take some percentages, but he hasn't changed that at all. All right, it's pretty crazy. So. The other thing to think about Ether for sure that's having a big impact on the supply shock is how it's how people's opinion of it has changed over time. Okay, so I've actually seen a lot of people who've been hardcore no ETH people actually change their opinion towards Ether over the past year. Just like people have changed their opinion about Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin, the narrative around it has changed from being kind of this thing that we're not sure about to being essentially an institutional grade store of institutional grade asset. We've seen Tesla buy $1.5 billion Bitcoin for its balance sheet. We've seen, Bitcoin change the narrative to being a store of value. We have the crypto infrastructure bill where people are actually, standing up for crypto. Okay, that's a significant shift, and Ether has undergone a significant shift as well from being kind of this like. Penny stock, S coins. I try to keep it family friendly on the show here, to actually being something that's really serious. It has to be taken seriously, especially when you consider the fact that crypto is, like I said, the fastest adopted technology in the history of the world. When you even twice as fast as the internet, if you count for the same number of users back, in the 90s. So the fact that it's leading the race and all that is more and more reason people demand Ethereum asset itself. Hence, we're seeing the supply shock. Hence, we're seeing the price increase. And from all the analysts, what they're saying is that it's undervalued and that the price is, primed to go significantly higher than it is today. And so, what's my take on this? I think they're right from the fundamentals perspective. You know what I mean? Basically, I think that they're right. I have a hard time trying to quantify what the good price targets are beyond, $10,000 per Ether. My target still has maintained to be 10K per ETH, kind of as a, medium kind of conservative prediction. But I don't place any guarantees on when that's going to happen. All right. My whole thing is measuring the upside potential of Ether at some point in time in the future is still $10,000 per Ether, which really is not that crazy when you think about the fact that we got to over $4,000 per Ether in May. All right, and the amount of momentum and adoption that's happening. I mean, do we think I think it's possible that we can see the types of price levels that Raoul's talking about here. I definitely do think it's possible. But as far as like sticking by my guns and what I'm willing to, really, really be confident in is still that price target, along with $100,000 per Bitcoin. Yeah, the lights. My light is actually on. It's dying back here, so I'm trying to. I've got to actually get it plugged in to where it runs on its own and not a battery. So, the other thing about Ether is we're seeing. we're seeing it talked about more and more online. Like I said, this status is totally changing. People's awareness of Ether is changing. Pretty much anytime I hear somebody outside of crypto talk about crypto, they usually ask about, beyond Bitcoin, I usually hear Ethereum mentioned as well. All right. And that has even been a shift. And you have stuff like this, where I saw this video floating around, like of Kevin O'Leary, or, Mr. Shark Tank, talking about actually the EIP 1559 network upgrade and what that means for Ether. So, I mean, you have people like that in the space who are watching what's going on when you have a technical change like this to the monetary policy that actually can have a price impact. They're picking this stuff up and they're actually teaching other people about it. And so you have Kevin O'Leary exposing his audience to this type of thing. You have more and more people who are kind of outside of crypto who are interested in just making money, who are teaching other people who are interested in making about money what Ethereum is and why it's such a game-changing technology. It's massive. Somebody says, so glad I hodled. Yeah, me too. So let's actually check on the cryptocurrency prices here. And we'll probably have to have a little bit of an abbreviated show today because we had some of these technical difficulties and I got a bunch of other stuff I got to take care of after this. I don't really know what was happening with the audio issues. Everything was working perfectly on my end. I connected to YouTube. It was not working. So let's go ahead and check on the Ether price since that's what we're talking about first here. So, ETH, in fact, is undergoing its supply shock. And I think Willie's right. When you look at the price of Ether, we were back above $3,200 for the first time since, let's see here. What is this? Sorry, I missed this in the way. Since middle of May. All right, so that's a big deal. Because don't forget, we peaked out also at the middle of May. All right. So it would not surprise me if we got back to an all-time high relatively soon on the grand scheme of things. I mean, the market has really flipped bullish. I mean, I have personally flipped more confidently bullish. I've been talking about it quite a bit on the streams. You kind of go back and watch the videos, kind of see my thought process here. I've always maintained that I didn't think that we were going to go into a multi-year bear market, right? That the blow up that we saw happen in April, right? Was probably something that was temporary, but we didn't know how long a correction would last. We'd see a prolonged correction, but not confident in how long that would be. But to me, it does look like we've bottomed, right? Back here, that we had actual trend reversal. I've been watching these moving averages on Bitcoin. I still think that Bitcoin is a pretty good index for the overall market of crypto, even relative to what Ether's doing. I've been talking about, we've been tracking this, trying to get out of this downward pattern. Pretty much by every metric that I would think about, higher lows, higher highs, reversal of the moving averages above all the short-term moving averages, and now we're above the long-term moving averages and have held it at support. So that's pretty bullish, all right? So unless, something major were to happen, I feel pretty confident that we're moving forward here, so... And for that reason, I do think we still have a lot of upside potential for ETH here. All right, so let's look at I've got another article I want to check out here, but let's go ahead and see if we've got any other questions in the chat. So what happens in the ETH supply when stakers start to get rewarded? So that's a good question. I'm assuming you mean whenever staking gets unlocked, because right now, basically, we have proof of stake live on a different blockchain, ETH 2.0. You can deposit ETH into it and start earning the staking rewards, but you can't withdraw it yet, okay? So I think this person's asking, whenever the merge happens and ETH gets unlocked, what's going to happen to the staking rewards? Well, it's hard to say. I mean, I think some people are speculating that will be kind of a top maybe for ETH, an intermediate top or a long-term top. Because that's a big kind of event that people are waiting for, and it creates a huge unlock, and that a lot of people who have had those staking rewards would start selling those to get some of that ether back. That's a very distinct possibility. I don't have a firm stance either way, but I think it's definitely worth keeping on the radar. Somebody says ETH 2.0 is coming by the end of this year. Maybe. I mean, I think it's more conservative to say Q1 of 2022. We'll have to kind of wait and see, because we hear about stuff, in advance, but usually don't hear an official release date until, a couple weeks out. And usually they go by block number. So they say, hey, we're going to have it at this block. And you kind of have to estimate when that date's going to be in the future. So I want to know some tips. Buy low, sell high. Somebody says ETH is due for a major pullback correction. We will definitely a $1,700 ETH soon. I don't think so. Oh, thoughts on the Poly network hack? I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. We can check it out, though. So this is one of the biggest hacks in crypto ever. Let's actually pull it up here. I have seen the hackers start to return some of the funds. Part of these hacks is like you have to do so much due diligence in order to really talk about it, with confidence, and it takes a lot of time to do all the research and actually see what's fact and what's fiction regarding these hacks. I don't really want to just talk about it and spread fake news, but basically, Poly Network was a major hack, 600 million. We're pushing a $1 billion hack. That's pretty insane. One of the biggest crypto heists ever. Looks like they are returning some of the funds. If anybody watching this stream was affected by this, this is a tragedy. I hate that this has happened. Like I said, I don't really have a lot of thoughts on it. I'd have to actually sit down and do some due diligence and and research exactly what took place here. Somebody wanted me to talk about it. I guess I could use this as a PSA. If you were involved in Poly Network and for some reason haven't heard about this yet, then definitely go check this out. Because a lot of these things, if you're going to analyze exactly what took place in the hack, you either have to trust, some sort of news source that's reported about this, and sometimes they're not always that good at sort of fact finding when it comes to this, or you have to sit down yourself and actually analyze the chain and look at the transactions, and that could take a significant amount of time. So how do I see Aave? I think we're in a situation where a lot of DeFi projects are about to get pumped. I think that DeFi, in this case, is probably going to follow what's been going on with Ether and BTC. We've already seen Aave start to move a little bit. Let's see here. Full disclosure, I do hold Aave in my portfolio. Let me just pull it up my screen here. Yeah, we're at 8% on 24 hours for Aave. And past, 30 days have performed pretty well. Let's look at 30-day. 30-day, we're up, let's see, from the lows. We're pushing a 2x. All right, so I'm going to answer a couple more questions in the chat here. We're going to have to do an abbreviated stream because I had such a technical issue that ate up a lot of time. And I've got to split here in a second, so we'll do one more question. Thoughts on 50 ETH burned blocks? That's a good question. So let's actually pull up. So I said I would look at this earlier. We can look at the ultrasound money site here to look at the number of ETH burned. So 27,000 Ether. So that's like close to $100 million at the current price of Ether. Let's actually do the calculations on my phone here. So it's about $3,200 times 27836. Yeah, it's $105 million. It's pretty crazy. It's 10% of $1 billion. So basically, that's been in a week since this has been live. So in 10 weeks, we'll burn $1 billion, or 9 more weeks. So $500 million a month, basically. And actually, that number will increase if the price of Ether is increasing. So, if we're talking like if ETH doubles in value from here where it is today, we'll be burning $1 billion a month worth of ETH at the current activity levels. And that's also assuming that, if we have more activity on top of ETH and the price doubles, then we can burn over $1 billion a month. Some of his thoughts on the 50 ETH blocks. So basically, if ETH become deflationary, you have to burn more than 2 ETH per block. So right here, here's a deflationary block. Basically, this, here's a deflationary block. So basically, like, is it peak demand? You know what I mean? There's enough activity. That's when ETH becomes inflationary. We're seeing NFT drops happen. We had a massive NFT drop happen yesterday, and we just saw gas prices surge because people are just paying lots of Ether to get into blocks because they're going to flip them to make a profit on their NFTs. And that's what's happening here. We're seeing this, happen on a daily basis now. And so if you have a 50 ETH block, then that basically pays for, 24 other blocks now become deflationary. So you can average that out, and it's pretty crazy. Somebody says it'll become deflationary on Q1 2022 because of the halving. So that is a factor, and you can actually you'll click the chart here and see the theoretical supply peak based upon when the merge happens. This is the triple halving that people are talking about, where ETH supply goes from 4% to 2% to 1% to 0.5%, and then we were burning ETH, so that'll be significant. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. I had to cut it short today. Again, we had technical difficulties with the first stream here. But as always, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button down below. That really helps these videos out so then more people can learn about blockchain. If you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You go to my YouTube homepage, you find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you up a blockchain master step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.